is up? What is good, everybody? Welcome back to the Straight Savage podcast. Another pre-recorded episode, and we coming to you today wanting to introduce somebody's been on my channel for quite a while now. A good brother, man. We've conversed. He showed me some things. I've shown him some things. I've always been open to talk to him and him as well. And some of you guys know because I be seeing you in the chats, Javier. I be seeing you in the chats on the other channel. You be getting around, man. So you're getting known in the community. But today, special guest, we'll be kind of just going over just things about him, and then we'll talk some GI Joe news. Another good podcast for Yo Joe June. We got my man Javier from Soldado Coleccionista. Do I say that right?
It sounds good. Yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
Soldado
So
Coleccionista.
like soldado, just go by the order. Soldado,
Soldado. Okay.
and coleccionista is just collector in Spanish. That's what
Nice,
it is.
nice, nice.
So yeah,
And I asked you that before, and you told me that. So it's
yeah,
it's, it's collecting soldier, pretty much, right?
yeah.
The collecting soldier, yeah. Because when and I don't even want to sound ignorant, enough, but when you speak Spanish, you almost kind of in the English way of looking at it is the words are kind of flipped, the way they're laid out.
Yes, it does
Okay,
happen a lot. It does happen a
nice,
lot.
nice.
Even the thinking sometimes, like it took me a lot of years. Sometimes, there was a time that everything was a translating process in my brain before it went out back to you, like to somebody.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Just I guess not even kind of saying like that, but overthinking it because you're trying to make sure you say it correctly out on
yeah,
a sense like
yeah.
that.
So
Yeah,
and
man.
now it's different. Now I just mix everything, and everything is screwed. Everything
little,
doesn't make sense.
little Spanglish going on.
Everything, yeah, everything. It's like so natural. Like actually, since I start speaking English, let's say, right, was when I joined the army.
Wow.
Hands down. Like we and a lot of people get probably don't know. Well, some people know, some people don't know, but we when we go to school in Puerto Rico, that's where I'm from, that's what I was born and raised. You go to school, you get every subject: math, history, science, Spanish, all that. You also get English too, from first grade all the way to when you graduate high school.
Oh, wow.
Yes, that's true. Now the problem is that we don't speak English. Nobody speak English over there. So you learn how to read, you learn how to understand to a point. It depends on the person how much interest they want to put into, right? But you never talk. And that was my thing. I understood English, I know how to read English and everything, but when I joined the army, I never spoke before. So
Ah.
so it was interesting.
You know at one time, man, in the United States, man, they were doing that. I remember having Spanish when I was in kindergarten, first grade, but then they just cut it out. They should have just kept that going through because when I took Spanish in high school, it was just kind of like I almost had to take that, Spanish and shit. And then it didn't help because I had this like girl in front of me who helped me cheat and shit. She was from Spain and shit. And I was loving that shit. She was calling me Papi Chulo.
Yeah, I probably knew what you were searching for.
Nah, I didn't never do nothing with her, man. But she damn sure helped me pass Spanish, yo. I was just such a cheater in high school. Like, I ain't know some shit I'd cheat, yo.
we 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 all were at some point. Trust me.
But man, that's awesome, man, because that kind of gets into talking about what your channel is about. And I always found it was quite interesting that you have a channel like that, and that pretty much speaks for the Spanish collector, or if you speak Spanish, and then you said, and then sometimes you kind of mix it up, you do English, but for mostly you're leaning towards people who speak Spanish, man, and that's awesome. I think that needs to get out there even more because I know there's more collectors or people who will be interested if they could vibe with somebody, man. And I see you doing that. What that is that what made you wanna start your channel, or simply collecting also?
So the collecting. So we can go a little bit back, right? Let's say I stopped collecting actually, like, my main lines back when I was a kid, and it's not really collecting. You see in a different way. You're playing with toys. You're having toys. You
Mhm.
watch cartoons about these toys. So the main one, number one for me was GI Joe, hands down. That's why we're here today, right?
Correct.
There was also Master of the Universe, He-Man. There was also Thundercats. Star Wars was there in the picture too because of my age.
Correct.
Um, and probably a few more. There's Mask, Silverhawk, all those. You keep. There's a list. Let's say sometimes around 12. Like 12 to 14. That's when you have other things in life. You growing up. You want to. Things start changing. So a few events. There was a big storm that messed with all my comics. I used to collect comics too, and a lot of the toys too. They went away. I did have a lot, and when I graduated from high school, in the need of having a car, we didn't have the luxury to have my parents buying a car or anything like that. There was no money, so and I always been like that. I try to do stuff for myself. So I worked through summer. I start college also in summer. 3 jobs,
Damn.
and I want to buy a car, and I ended selling my collection. And I had a lot of GI Joes. I had a
Oh,
lot of
damn.
Master of the Universe. Yes, this was like 1994, and I sell everything and bought my first car. It was a
Damn,
it
you
was
had
a,
that much?
it was a used car, but I got something. I got something. Probably not what I should, but I got something.
That was if it was enough to buy a car, that was awesome.
Well, remember we talk about 1994. It was a used car.
Oh yeah, yeah. You can
you
get
know,
one for like $500, but shit, but still at the
it's
same time,
it's
1994,
different.
$500.
I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what. The car that I bought was a Chevy, the brand Nova, 1976. But
Damn.
the person who had it, it was more like a race car. Talk
Gotcha.
about nice paint. The transmission was all plaque, 350, the engine. I remember. So basically, I used to race with everybody that I saw next to me on a light, regardless of who it was, right? So, and I had it for quite some time, and looking for jobs. I have to stop college. All these things leads me to a point that, and I used to love the military always from the beginning, from
Mhm.
GI Joe. That was part of it. But there's a point where you are growing up that you start thinking, going back again, you know, uh, and you stop thinking about those things from childhood. But at some point, the situation came back to me. It was a cousin called me one day. Hey, what are you doing tomorrow? I say nothing. What's going on? Can you take me to the recruiter station? I'm going to join the army. I was
Mm.
like, sure, why not? So I took him, sat down, listened to everything that they were talking. I was like, oh, I got fascinated. I was like, oh yeah, this is it. So I went the next day. And there was another recruiter in the office. I went first thing in the morning, and I say, I came to join the army. And he was like, well, sit down here so you can listen, what we're going to. I
Mm.
said, no, I want to listen to everything. Like, I came here to join to the army. That's it. So, yeah. So after it took me a little bit of time to get in because I was on some things that I have to take care of, some couple of accidents that they were my fault and stuff like that. you know. And once I took care of everything, I was able to join.
Nice.
And fast forward, whole life, whole career, spent 21 years in the army. 21 years.
That's
And
what's up.
I was going to stay more. Mm, if you ask me at that point, my goal was stay like 32 years, 32 years.
Nice, nice.
But things happen, and medical reasons and conditions and things of that nature, from accidents. But the one that triggers actually the process that I have to do the medical board, for those who know, right? It was the diabetes, and diabetes got out of control, and I'm not a type 2. It ends up to be a type 1, so I need insulin. The moment that I needed insulin, and the position and the rank that I was, basically they told me, no, that is a liability for soldiers and for you, and if something happens. So of course the whole world turns, because I was not expecting a whole change. So I had like 4 months to do a lot of decisions.
Mm-hmm.
But I was already past 20 years, so it was a full retirement, and that happened. I guess time between like trying to deal with everything that was happening at that point. Fast forward, I went back to school, finished another bachelor, did a couple things. My brother and my son, that he's in the army nowadays, not nowadays, they start talking about figures and stuff like that. I remember my brother was with Master of the Universe, and he was mentioned. Hey, there's this guy. I remember one of the first guy. He said, "There's this guy that has a channel, talks about figures. His name is Analog Toys,
Mm.
right?"
Yeah, yeah.
So I watched his channel. Oh, interesting, cool. GI Joe
What
stuff.
year was this?
I want to say the mid 21, or probably beginning of 22, somewhere,
Okay.
sometimes around that time. I remember the end of 21, let's say. So I remember seeing a Master of the Universe. I think it was Origin of He-Man and Skeletor, and it says 30 years, 40 years, something like that. So, oh, cool, bam, got him. Then I think that now I remember 2022. I remember seeing, I want to say 2022 first quarter, March, February. I remember seeing a Cobra Commander and a Flint figure
Mm-hmm.
of classified, and I was, oh my god, what is this? Yeah, because when I was little, I used to love my GI Joes, but I always wanted how how they would look better. How they
Correct.
were gonna be like I always wish that, right? So I remember seeing that Cobra Commander and Flynn, and I said, you know what? I'm gonna grab that. So I grabbed the Cobra Commander first, and then I came back later. I was looking for a Duke. I remember, because I was like, in a lot of people's mind, the leaders are Duke and Cobra Commander, and
Yeah.
that's how the show bring
Yes,
those.
correct.
Even that the comics were different. So, but Duke was not there, so I grabbed Flynn. Couple months, came back. I remember going take a vacation, coming back from that vacation, and went to a Walmart. The next day, I was with my wife, and I remember seeing that somebody just put them, one of the workers, Storm Shadow, Spirit, and I think it was a Cobra officer. I think they all came. Oh, and Crop Master. They all came in
Yeah,
the
they
same
were.
way,
Yeah.
same time, same day. And oh man, I remember seeing that. And I was like, oh, Storm Shadow. What's this? So I remember. I was like, I need to grab one. Which one? So make the decision of Storm Shadow. Came back home. My mind was going crazy, man. But that Spirit looked really good.
Yeah, yeah,
Krugmaster. Krugmaster used to be
yeah.
one of the beef guys that I used to love when he was in 3.75, and went back the next day
That's how it happened.
and grabbed Spirit and Krugmaster and the officer. I remember, and from that point, everything turns upside down, and the start the collection and start
Just real
collecting.
quick, that
Yeah,
that that was maybe about 3 years ago, and I'm just looking like at all this behind you. Did you ever think it would get to like the vehicles and everything like that? And the crazy
No.
part about it is you were talking about Cobra Commander and Flint. Now those are good figures, but we've gotten way better. Uh, I would not necessarily say Flint, but just versions of GI Joe Classified has gotten better from them first sets, but still people forget like how you say you looked at that Flint. I'm like, oh shit, Flint. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying? I knew he looked a little bit different, but I liked the way he looked. You know what I'm saying? I could tell it was brought up to a modern speed, and now those figures kind of get crapped on. But I mean, you talking about a line that was good to went to better.
it
You
was.
know?
And and that comment that you said there, right? That looking at Flynn, and you can say, oh, could it look better? The only reason that we can say that now, because all that time that passed, and because there's a retro figure and there's a Tiger Force figure, so now we can compare, right?
Yes,
And
yeah.
but at that point, the figures were amazing.
Yeah, you ain't see nothing. You haven't seen nothing that size as
Yes.
far as a GI
Yeah.
Joe. In that
Yes.
6-inch form with all that detail. So it was just like I said, that. But I had caught from the beginning. But I mean, I'm just thinking about that Flint now. How I look at him, he's still okay. The
Hmm.
regular one looks better than the Tiger Force, and I don't
Oh
really have
yes.
a
Yes.
problem
Yes.
with the retro car one. It looks like an older version, but I still like them, but just we looking back in 2020 vision, but I still know that feeling I had when I seen Flint and Lady J. I'm like, oh man, I definitely got to get that wave. You know what I'm saying? Because it was only like 2 or 3 popping out of the waves at that time, man. But even down to that Cobra Commander, like he looked a little bit different for me, but when I held him in the hand, I was like, yo, this figure's a sleeper. That's a actually quality built figure. That first Cobra Commander, the one that has kind of like the long
Yeah.
coat on, that's actually a really good figure. Now looking back in hindsight, I mean, of course I like the newer updated one, but that one's still good, and it was good enough to kind of turn people on to the line. But sometimes people seem to forget how it made you feel when you first seen those first set as a classified, even though they had some misses, but still it still was a game changer.
Flint. You see, I'm not Flint. I'm sorry. Spirit. That's a good example. Spirit
Yeah.
from that time is still a very good figure right now. If you can compare with the new stuff that they're making right now, and of course things are getting better. So a lot of
Correct.
times we kind of say, oh, like this. Yeah, because they managed to make stuff better and better and better.
Yeah.
I want to say from the few brands that Hasbro has right now, they're dedicating a lot to classify.
Well, I
You
think
know,
their team dedicates a lot. They kind of leave it in their hands, and they make it right, man. I like who they have on there, and I'm guessing it's Lenny and those other little guys. But Lenny, I think is a major part of keeping that passion
yeah,
going. And that's funny that you said that about Spirit, because Spirit has the older body of
yeah,
GI Joe. If you notice, they got kind of thicker. They're a little bit more filled out, even down to the guys who are not like built up. The bodies are the bodies are a little bit more filled out, but he's still a great figure. And to be honest with you, it can I maybe can see them doing yeah, they probably do a retro card Spirit, but he's really
it's,
not known as a big guy. You know what I'm
but
saying? I can see them thickening him up a little bit, but that body serves him well.
it's gonna be hard because if you look at that Spirit, it looked like the one from 3.75 from back in the 80s. Like
Yeah, yeah,
literally, like they
it's
they, they
pretty much
cover
on
all the
point.
grounds, right?
Yeah, this he came at a point when they were trying to right the ship a little bit, trying to get away
Yeah,
from the futuristic gold boots and the slight differences in the people. Like you were looking for the Duke, and and when you seen him, I'm pretty sure like, okay, I can see this being Duke. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
You said that, I said it to myself. I can see this being Duke. Okay, I see where they trying to go with this. But even down to the roadblock, he didn't look like how he's supposed to. But that Spirit came. Well, he was like number 23, 24.
20 no yeah, I think so because I think before that was the movie characters from the
Yeah, the
the
movie
Snake
characters
Eyes
in the
movie.
teens.
Yeah, I think it was
Yeah,
like
they're like
up to
12 through
20 or
16
whatever.
or something. Yeah. He came early. He came at a time like after Major Blood. Yeah, he definitely came after Major Blood. But it was that point where they was like, okay, we need to get back to what it was, man, which was a great thing, man. But it is hard to beat that because you have them. There is no reason to complain about that spirit.
So now that you mentioned that and you mentioned Major Blood, so the next thing that happened was, oh my god, I'm missing a lot. I'm looking at the numbers. I'm looking at the number right in my mind, and I'm talking about this was like around August 2022,
hmm
and I start doing my research, and I start looking about the figures, and I found all of them, almost all of them. I want to say I don't have the double zero snake eyes. I don't
hmm
need it because it's like 45 that they have made of him already, and the Regal Cobra Commander.
The different colored one, the
Yeah.
different color. Yeah, I don't have that either. I didn't get that deep, but I had to go back and get double zero. And the funny thing about double zero is I had two of them in my cart because he was like $39, maybe 35. I almost want to say he was $35 for that big pack. Had two of them in my cart, and I just let him sit there because I didn't know. I was like, I don't know what the hell I was thinking. I was like, man, it's 6 inch. I was like, I don't know. What I'm saying. I'm still new to collecting. I had been collecting for like 4 years, but it was a slow trickle. You know what I'm saying? I was still kind of fighting myself from 2016 on up. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like 2016, I brought a few figures, and there would be huge months where I didn't even look at action figures or fuck with them. I just, had my little figures or whatnot, man. But um that's around the time that double zero snake eyes came out. It was getting to a point where I was starting to overflow, and it was in my cart, and it ended up getting sold out. So I brought the first
Mm,
wave, but I brought the first wave late. Like I went back and
okay.
got Destro, and then from there
Yes.
on I was pretty much with all the waves. But I still kicked myself, man, for leaving that double zero snake eyes off. But I got one. I ended up buying one for like 120, man. I
A
I
little
I
bit
I,
more. Yeah. I mean,
I,
but
I
it
had to
happens.
have it.
It happens. Sometimes there's things that you cannot control. That you don't know what's going to happen. Right? It's
Yeah.
going to be like, oh, this is going to happen like that. But crazy enough, I found, and the Sartan, the master of disguise that came on I think it was at San Diego Comic Con, right? They came in the
Yeah, I
box.
was able to snag one of them. I
So,
did get one of them.
but that's it, right? But then, crazy, it was crazy because I was able to find stuff on a very good price at that point. There was not the hype was going, it was increasing on
hmm
people, but it was still the knowledge of finding figures, how to do things of that nature. Uh, it was not the level that is now. Another crazy thing, I found stuff without having to go to like pages in the community and trying to do a change with people. No,
Yeah, yeah,
literally almost everything was online stores and things of
yeah,
that nature. But
yeah,
not nowadays you can't. There's no way. But and I have all of them. Up to I'm a completionist of GI Joes, and then it leads to other things. End of 2022, beginning of 2023. Actually, 2022, I remember seeing a YouTuber towards the end. I don't know if you know him. His name is Savage Man, and he, I
that was a good
remember.
one. I was thinking about who you about to
so,
say.
so I remember, seeing a couple videos, but there was one that you make. It was a review, and there was two characters. But the way that you have with that music, kind of like soul R&B music, and it was talking about sexy about the figures and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, yeah,
I remember that review. It was so for me, it was so different. Like, man, I like this. Like this is cool. Like I really like this. And there was a few people. I want to say, analog was some of the at the beginnings. I remember Articulated Ninja was another one. Uh, But Articulated Ninja has that R&B sexy voice. It was too much for me. My shout out to Articulated Ninja. I was like, no. But it was him. It was good reviews, very good videos. The editing. Um, Matt Hatter came in the picture. I remember you and maybe a few more. Now, but when I saw your review, I remember I started increasing with me. You know what? I would like to share what I collect. I
Mm,
would like to because I think I have a little bit of knowledge. I'm not an expert. You know,
mm,
like we're not experts. We
right.
know things, but we are not experts, right? But
Right.
I at least I can. It's funny. I don't even like to say reviews on videos on a figure because who I am to make a review. To me, I will. I can say showing you the figure or I can tell you my opinion about it. But like everybody has a different perception, and I will show
Correct.
you and bring you facts about that figure and what I see. That's about it. Uh, when it comes to videos like that. But then I start seeing people like you again doing different things. When you start doing the field, when you start doing these different things, I want to do this. Really want to do this stuff, and it took me like a year and some change to finally go forward with. And I think one of the main reasons was exposure to people because when I was in the military, I was very, very, I was, I was always like a paranoid person, like always be careful with everything that I do, the movement. Like, no, trust me, I, I used to get letters, and every week I used to burn them in the back of the house because
Hey,
I didn't
so
want the address
was
to
you
be
in the
there. Yeah,
CIA or some shit?
yeah, and I'm telling you, it's like probably part of my job or whatever, but
Yeah.
I was like that always. And to me, having the exposure to people, I was like, I don't know.
Mm-mm.
The funny thing is nowadays, like I don't care about my accent because that's not going to change. For the most that I tried, that's not going to change. Uh, and if I think, well, right now, let me tell for everybody, Savage Land make me to do this as a recording because he said nobody is going to understand you live. So we need to have you with captions. No,
Nah,
no, it's a
he
joke.
lying. Hey, he lying like shit, man. I wouldn't do him like that.
No. It's a joke. It's a joke. But the funny thing is, the years in the military, the positions that I had, the things that I did, I reached pretty good in the military. Pretty good, you know.
Oh, but
And
before you go on, let me ask you this. So I know you were stationed here at Bragg, which deals with hugely with special forces. Were you tied in to special forces, anything like that? 82nd Airborne or any Ranger groups or anything like that?
no, I put a package because I was going to, and I had an accident in Iraq in one of my deployments and on my back, and
Ah,
I ended they ended taking my like my jump status, and I couldn't.
ah.
If you have back problems and you cannot jump from planes and stuff like that, you cannot be in the special forces. So
Cause shit, they they
uh
they you get hurt jumping from planes. I know a lot of people, man, always talking about like the medical disability from jumping and shit.
yeah, well, yeah, and it's crazy because uh I'm a person. If something happens to me and a door closed, trying to find a way to open another one, right?
Yeah, no doubt,
So
no doubt.
I was getting ready for that. I was preparing for that, and that happened. So whatever. Then actually, my diabetes was diagnosed after that because of the accident. Because of the accident, I became inactive for a whole year,
Oh shit.
and I guess somewhere at that point it triggers. But I was supposed to have diabetes. Now, those who knows, a person with diabetes cannot join the military.
I
But
didn't
if
know
you
that.
get, but yes, It's just like asthma. If you got asthma, you can
Uh,
join, right?
okay, okay.
So, but if you are in the military and you get diagnosed with diabetes, if you can manage, you can stay. So I was diagnosed at the beginning of 2010, and I remember when that happened. One of the visits, the doctor said, "Oh, but you're gonna be good because you're gonna be this percentage and this, and that." But I didn't see it that way. I was like, "No, I'm too young. I don't want to leave the military. What about my family? You know what I'm gonna do?"
Mm.
So I changed my whole lifestyle, and I was able to stay nine more years.
That's
Nine,
tremendous within itself. I didn't know you caught it that early, so you was able to really full at least finish. At least you finished the hit your retirement mark. Even though you wanted to do more, at least you did pull 2021.
yes, yes, and as a matter of fact, they even sent me to Afghanistan. Uh, that was my fifth deployment. They sent me to Afghanistan by they were not supposed to, but before that, I was a recruiter, detail recruiter,
Mm-hmm.
and when they sent me to this, when I got the PCS, which is the change to the next assignment. The assignment was overseas, and it was to based on Kuwait, and they sent me to Afghanistan. They were not supposed to because I'm a diabetic, but they sent me, and I managed the whole year. I took care of myself. I managed the whole year, and I did very good. And
Is your
so,
diabetes hereditary?
yes,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
I found that later. It's about
Okay.
and type one. Those who know type 1 and type 2, the difference is type 1 is your pancreas stop working and stop producing insulin.
Hmm.
So I have to inject insulin nowadays in order to process the food and the sugar and everything.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'm a
Yeah,
chronic one
diabetes is
too.
something, man.
So and then the type 2, it can happen with bad habits, not eating well, not eating healthy, not having a physical life, not doing physical activity, that
Hmm.
can lead you to a type 2 diabetic, right? So the funny thing, I treat the symptoms as if they were type 2. So I manage everything, my diet, everything, and like I was in a shape, ridiculous shape. I was in the ridiculous shape. And but when the pancreas stopped working in at the beginning of 2019, things got complicated. So
Yeah, yeah. And like you said with the type two, man, it's just really you could really not necessarily not you never cure it, but you could really tame it with a diet. You know,
yes, yes,
that's
yes.
that's the huge thing, man. And I think I believe that just because diabetes is more serious than ever. It's always been around because my dad had diabetes. I mean, I'm pretty sure my grandfather had diabetes. But it's just more than ever with all the fast food, the shit, like what I'm saying, just the processed food and all that shit, man. It's just it's an epidemic, almost like autism,
Yeah,
to a certain degree. Like I've
yeah,
seen
yeah.
more autism nowadays than I've ever seen in '90s, or maybe we wasn't aware. You know, like I was thinking about the other day. I was like, you know what, Forrest Gump was autistic.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? But people would call him like like retarded and all that shit, man. And I'm like, damn, he had autism. They maybe not as it's. I guess there's different, degrees of, but just just the way he acted.
so because probably back in our days, let's say, and even before, a lot of these things didn't have a name for it.
Correct, correct, correct.
PTSD, perfect example.
Yeah,
PTSD, they always relate PTSD with the military, right?
correct.
But PTSD can happen to anybody at any point. You can be walking the street right now, you witness an accident in the front of you that everybody get burned, die in the front of you right there, and that can cause you a post traumatic,
Stress.
stress. I know it's
Yeah,
right. PTSD, stress
yeah.
syndrome, and and you can relive that moment just like somebody who can be in the military. And but back in the days, that was not there was no names for those things, or
Correct.
if there were named, they were like it was like a taboo, you know. But but anyway, let's move forward.
It's about to get real dark and airy and shit.
I
Nah.
know, right? You know, like people, please
Hey,
don't.
but no, man, I was just sitting back listening to you, man. Because be quite honest, man, that's what this episode is, man. I mean, shit, people don't even want to hear me talk, you know. And at the same time, you was kind of, you know, just laying out your story and you know what I'm saying, and where you coming from as far as collecting and but we definitely can start talking about, you know, just some latest shit, man. Like let's see. What you think is gonna come out this week? Did you watch the last GI Joe live stream?
Oh, yes, yes, and actually, we actually I did a live. So every Wednesday I do a live. One Wednesday is on my channel, and I have a partner. A partner. His name is Gi Abiel.
Mm-hmm.
One Wednesday is on my channel, and another Wednesday is on his channel. Everything related with GI Joe, you know. Uh, he's a professor. I call him the professor on 3.75 inches GI Joe. He
Mm.
loved he loved those. Uh, so we do that, and we did one because it was the same Wednesday, and it seems like it's gonna be every Wednesday now because the next one is this next Wednesday. So we
What
cover.
time? What time you got to
Uh,
do it?
well, I'm on Texas. Is at 7 on my time, so East Coast at 8.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. And being that this episode is pre-recorded, I'll have you I'll have your stuff. I'll have you plugged up because this is about you, man. Be honest
Now,
with
now, now, the funny thing, like, what I really enjoy is making videos. So
you.
I try to make one video a week at least, which is my biggest problem because if you, just like you mentioned in the back, I keep buying stuff and things that keep. Actually, I was doing a fixing on the room, so I move a bunch of box to the second floor, and I probably yeah because I need to manage some things because my times of trying to making a video work and and the stuff that I buy, that I get is there's a complication with those. So, but at least I try to provide one video a week. uh I try to do different things with the videos. I'm not accustomed, if you people are looking for costumes and stuff like that, I don't do costumes. Uh I just don't have that patience. But I
You
admire you and everybody who do costumes.
Oh yeah, man. And be honest with you, and that's the one thing I wanted to tell you. What we were talking about on earlier is that, man. You just got to go with your ebb and flow. You be quite honest with you. And when you said, "Who I'm not a review. Who am I to review?" Because that's not your passion to sit down and break down every nut and screw on a
Yeah,
figure,
no,
and it's not mine's either. Like I will do it, but I still won't do it all the way because that's really not my passion. So that's how I kind of went into doing different things because that's what I want to do. This is where I wanted to see a figure if I was looking on TV put up, you know what I'm saying, or done something with. And
and
it's saying, and it seems like you're going the same way. Like you going to what you like. You might like doing the news, like at one time I had like 4 or 5 different things going on because that's just what I felt. And then I leaned to more into certain things. Like I leaned more to the table, leaned more into the podcast. It's
to your
really all
forte,
about
yeah, right, yeah,
how
to
how, how
your
you
forte,
feel.
like something that you enjoy and like you and enjoy, right? Yeah.
Correct.
So and like me, if I want to see how a figure bands move and stuff like that, I go to
Mm-hmm.
Punk with Toys, and he give me a good definition of moving a figure and what it does.
Mm-hmm.
And there's so many people, and what I like is everybody bring their own stuff, their own flavor,
Correct.
in a certain way, right? So, like that's
Hey,
why
because
I like to do that.
even with them, like you go. Let's go with Punk with Toys, Bobby B, and
Yeah, that's
we'll
he's
throw we'll
another
throw the
one.
other guy and we'll throw Yojo Jerk in there. They
No,
all are
you're
going to
yeah.
go through the figures, but they all have their own style of how they do it.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? I can watch all three of them because I know this is what they're into. This is what they're gonna do. But still, they all have their different ways of doing because that's how they want to do it. And like I said, that's always a good thing when you can go into what you want to do, but still do it how you want to do it. Basically.
That's true. Now let a couple of things I'm gonna say and on this one, and it's when I decided to start making a channel, I remember, and I was going to, I got pretty high in the military. As a matter of fact, I retired with the same rank as Duke.
Nice.
As a first sergeant. I retired as a first sergeant. So I was used to giving a speech. And I think people understood the speech because, you know, if we had a mission, we had something to do, it happened, right? So no, but in reality, I was used to. I was at some point I was an instructor in the military too, you know. But when I decided to make the channel, I remember making my first video. It was a different name in English, and I got so nervous, and I got so nervous that I didn't like it. I was like, no. And I remember taking the video. And this was in February 2024. No. Yes, February 2024. So I remember my wife and my son, they were like, why you don't do in Spanish? And my son, Eddie, he was like, Deco the Collector. That's his nickname on TikTok and Instagram. He's like, I don't see people doing in Spanish. So I was like, you know what? I don't see people either. Mm-hmm. So, but my wife told me, but you got to change that stupid name. I'm not gonna say what name was.
What was it, man? You already done basically said it. What was it?
It was Sapotran. It didn't make sense. It didn't make sense. It didn't make sense. It didn't make sense.
Land?
No. Sapotran. It was like Sapo.
Cybertron. Okay.
No. Okay, Sapo, it means frog in Spanish.
Okay.
And Tran, like, I don't know, transition, you know, the trans of a robot or whatever. Sapo Tran, like TRAN. It was stupid. You see? So when my wife told me that, I started thinking, I was like, you know what? Wait a minute. You know what? I was a soldier. I'm still a soldier. We're a soldier for life. And I collect toys. And that's how the name came.
Nice.
Soldado Coleccionista, right? So
Sapotran.
Yeah, yes, I know.
Yeah.
And I think I don't know where I got that name from one time that I hear or something. I don't know. But anyway, so that something crazy with that happens to me always with YouTube and the channel is the GPS, the IP, however people wants to call that, tracks that I'm in Texas area. But because I speak Spanish in the videos, my algorithm is crazy. It doesn't hit the way that a lot of you guys, the algorithms hit. Mm-hmm. So there's that. And then slowly start hitting a little bit other countries that speak Spanish. Start hitting Mexico, start hitting Spain, start hitting, like Argentina, start hitting a few of these places, but not as much because my IP put me that I'm in Texas.
Look, once you start getting to like algorithm shit, like I don't even know.
So I had that problem. So, and I always gonna have that problem. Now, it got better because the more that I ended finding out that there's actually a shit ton of people that speak Spanish that have channels in Spanish. Very good reviewers too. Very good reviewers, very good people. The only thing about the like the speaking Spanish community from like other countries, different from the United States, like Mexico, South America, and stuff like that, is the tendency to collect turns more towards vintage toys.
Uh
Now, there's a lot of knowledge too. A lot of these people has a lot of knowledge. And shout out to a lot of them, like Max Games and Toys, Chinos, Irwin, G.I. Javier, he's my partner from the G.I. Joe stuff. Caballero is like the nine. Uh, and there's more. There's plenty of people. So a lot of these people have a lot of knowledge. They got good channels, and there's more. There's way more. Now, the things that they collect, if it's something is they're different. I want to say internationally or all over the world, one of the brands, the major brands, is Master of the Universe. Hands
hmm.
down, hands down, is one of the biggest brands.
Hey, but look, that's also kind of a good thing to you for you because you're into the more of the GI Joe classified, so you can well, not necessarily kind of be, but really kind of like the only guy who's kind of like putting that out there to the Spanish speaking community.
There's a few, yeah. I mean, there's a few, but you're right. Me and Adiel, that's what we're trying to do with the Wednesdays live, and Adiel concentrates completely in GI Joe stuff. A lot more in 3.75 inches.
Hmm.
He get costumes. He get all these brands that they sell, like stuff that you can paint and do custom. There's a lot of companies in the United States that have stuff like that. There's a lot of nice projects. I don't know if you have you heard about Operation Recall.
I think I've heard of it before, but I'm not too fond. I'm just think I've heard of it.
So,
What's it about?
well, basically, just to put it short, it's a crowdfunding project from the guy that creates 3D Joes.
Uh huh.
He got together with Larry Hama and all these people that draw the GI Joes back in the 80s and 90s and did the stories. All these old timers, new people, and they basically create this whole new line, 3.75, more detail, but it's a whole new story. Character inspired by GI Joe, and you can see, the art and everything, and they have their story. And basically, the story is, like there were people that they were retired already, and they got called back because
Mm,
they're in need. Very cool characters and stuff like that. So that's just an example, right?
yeah.
Uh, and you start finding all these things, So we trying to talk about a lot of those stuff. He got knowledge on 3.75. I love that, but to be honest, nowadays I'm not gonna be chasing for 3.75 because that's gonna cost a lot. If you're trying to chase for the
Yeah.
vintage figures from back in the 80s all the way to the 90s, it's a lot, right?
Hey,
So
I'm good with classified, man. That's why I said
yes,
like
yes.
what you run with is really going to end up being your thing because if you say like in like South America and most of the Spanish speaking countries they're chasing vintage, you're going to turn over that classified leaf eventually. You feel me?
Oh no, no, trust me. A lot of people have been enjoyed the videos and enjoy the things that I put that show the classify, and then classify leads me to Action Force, Balaverse, and also
Okay.
leads me to Monster Force, which is all
Mhm.
related, and things
Correct.
of that nature. And I think with G.I. Joe is different when it comes to these are figures made of people that's supposed to be in special forces in the military or stories related.
Hmm.
This character has a nature of being humans, right? They're better if they look more detailed. Having them 6 inch bring those details. You can do those details and then create those
Yes.
articulations. And nowadays, collecting has turned to taking pictures, creating scenarios, doing dioramas. You see that collecting has changed a lot on that one.
Yes.
So
Which
I
that's
think,
mostly what I love
yeah.
about it. That's what made me gravitate to it. I mean, I still love
Hold on, let me get that
collecting, but
dark here.
I loved and I'm pretty sure you do comic books as well. And what's comic books? Art. and the action figures have turned into art.
It is. It is. Like a lot of people don't see it that way because they think about a mold made in the factory.
Correct.
But creating that mold at first, or have the sculpture who created, to create that figure at first, that's art.
Oh yeah.
You
Oh
see
yeah.
what I'm saying? Uh, and that's something that should be appreciated. And having these figures like that, a lot of times we get critics, like we criticize a lot a figure. We like, oh, it doesn't have this, doesn't that has a paint here, has. But in my case, like I'm 49 years old, and I look at the figures like, shit. What about back in the 80s? All the faces kind of look the same. All the forms. Come on,
Well,
be happy
see,
while you have it now.
correct, and see, and that's how these figures become art, because that 6-inch
Yeah.
body has enabled more articulation, that you can make a figure do human um gestures more than so a 90-degree elbow and an arm swivel. Now you have your elbows that crunch all the way in, ab crunches, double jointed legs, arms, the just everything
Yeah.
that it's not going to exactly move like us, but damn, we be getting it pretty damn close. And those old figures couldn't do that. So it's all about that bigger body technology, especially with the real print for the faces. I
Yes.
mean, like for me to chase 3 3/4, I'd be a fool. I'm sticking with this classified. I'm sticking with these Marvel Legends. I'm sticking with anything that's been coming out since you know uh 2020 or whatnot, which we know articulated 6-inch figures been, ever since Toy Biz started in the early 2000s. But I'm talking about this day and age. This day and age. We ain't talking about Toy Biz. I know they came with a whole bunch of stuff. I'm talking about even the sorriest Hasbro figure still is one remarkable toy compared to what we used to deal with.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah. No, but you know what? And but there's also that nostalgic factor. Always gonna be. And
correct.
for that, I love those 3.75. But in my case, I'm not gonna be looking for them or chasing them because they're gonna cost a lot.
Oh yeah.
And the chances to have a good figure in a good state, that's another one too. Now I can get a figure that is brand new on a box that I know is gonna last a couple more years.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so that's the only reason. That's the only reason. But because I do love 3.75, I love it. Just I'm not gonna go for that because that it will be too much. I
I,
think.
I I
In my
still
opinion.
I still got love for them. Like they got a $5 bin at Joe Fest, and I'm not and I'm not the one. Like I
I
might pick up a
remember.
few
I remember
at
that video that you did. I like that.
correct, and I'm gonna hit that shit again this year, and I'm
You
gonna
went
pick
to a
me up
pallet or
some.
something and started looking for the figures. Like it was like a box,
Yeah,
plastic box, and you start looking.
yeah,
Yeah,
because when it comes to 3.75, I don't have to have all the bells and whistles. I just want that toy, pretty much to give me that reminiscence. You feel me? Like, and then if I want to get a figure, like I might buy a Virgin 4 Snake Eyes. I might get him at one of the booths that has everything in the little bag. Like last year, that same booth I was by with those tub of Joes, they had him up there for like $23. He didn't cost much. He had everything, but you know,
okay.
it'll be few far in between that I'll get a completionist on a 3 3/4. Other than that, that $5 bin, that's where I'm at. I'll buy them by the pounds. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? With broken, sometimes they have a broken thumb or so. I don't know. Sometimes I like that. Like I like I have the scroll and Kree war from
yeah.
Marvel, that storyline out the 70s. Now, if you got that set, because it wasn't a storyline, you had to chase it through these different books. Man, that set will cost you, hundreds of dollars, maybe shit, maybe even thousands. Not thousands, but about $1,000 if you had it picture perfect, all the books. But shit, I got some of them with holes in the fucking cover.
So you still
But
got comics?
oh yeah. I got a whole chest over
Okay,
there. Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
yeah.
I got some heat in that motherfucker too.
I
Vintage
lost a
and
I lost a
not
lot of the
what.
comics back in the 80s and 90s,
Yeah.
and I had a lot, but
I
I
went
got
and
a few.
grabbed
I
everything
got a
I
few
lost.
nowadays. I got a few nowadays. From the new ones
Yeah,
and stuff like that.
I went back and grabbed a few I lost. You see, that's what I was collecting. I was collecting comic books. That's what started my collecting habit. Like in 2014, 2015, I started collecting comic books. I went out looking for Wolverine Volume 2 because that's what I used to read when I was a kid.
Oh,
You know,
yeah. That's
when did Wolverine? Yeah. Wolverine Volume 2 probably picked up in 88 and then into
yeah,
like
yeah. I
2000.
was gonna say 88. Yeah, around
Yeah.
88.
Yeah, because he's on top of these pile of like ninjas. He's got that patch and shit on. He's
Yep.
running around his patch around that time. And that was my series, man. And it just kind of spread from there. You know, I picked up some stuff that I had when I was a kid and then some more little stuff. And then it kind of it died. Action figures really killed that. To be honest with you. It killed it. like I'd stop. Like every now and then, like I need to pick up my G.I. Joe comic books. I need to get all of those series
The
that I
new the new ones actually that
yeah,
came.
that I started last year, and I didn't finish getting them. But other than that, man, I'm good because I believe I almost have every issue in Wolverine Volume 2, and that's really what I started.
Oh
I just
wow.
wanted, yeah, I wanted one. I think it went all the way up to like 169 or some shit like that, and I'm maybe missing about 7 or 8 books.
I have a lot of them, and like again, the storm mess. Like I used to have a lot of GI Joe's comics, Star Wars, Dark Horse, Marvel. When Image came at first, the Image company
Hmm.
that brought all the a bunch of good writers and artists. I remember I had Spawn. I have the John Blood team. I have the Wildcats, the Cyber Force.
Hmm.
Uh, I used to have all of that, stole them, and half of them, with the storm, got I
What,
lost
what 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 storm hit? What year you talking about?
one of the hurricanes back home. I don't know, George.
Was it one that came up through Florida too? Because it usually
No,
kind of hit,
no,
kind
no,
of
no, no,
past
no.
y'all or
Because
hit y'all or
no,
cross
because
over y'all.
you're probably talking fast forward, probably years after. Remember, I'm talking about one of them was the end of the 80s. I want to say like 89 or whatever. The other one was in 90 something. Uh, like I experienced a bunch of hurricanes
Yeah.
during
Oh
those
yeah.
times, right?
Yeah.
And but
I remember
that big
Hugo
one,
was a big one.
yeah, that big one, Maria. I was in Korea when that one hit. So, but at that point, I was already in the military. I was not living in Puerto Rico anymore. I was
Hmm.
living in the United States and all over the world. So, but
Yeah.
yeah, something that I was telling about the channel. So I start doing in Spanish, but I remember I don't know. It was not the Joe Fest, but sometimes when people used to do content and make a video, sometimes you write, you make a comment or whatever. So there's some people that I don't know, maybe the subscribers, the amount of subscribers, the position that they're at some point, they do like a regular check on a comment or whatever. But there's some people that actually take some time and respond back to you,
Um.
and it's not an automatic response or anything like that. So going back again, Savage Land was one of those that I don't know what question that I asked you that you answered back to me like if you knew me, from every day, like nothing. And I think that speaks a lot of value, a lot of volume in that, to me. And because there was a few people that I talked, and I don't know what they think. They probably think I was trying to like reach to them to trying to grow my channel. It's like, look, I'm speaking Spanish. I have nothing to do. What are you talking about? But I don't know what the question was. But I remember you answered to me, and from there we start talking. And there has been a bunch of people like that. Woody, perfect example. That's another one. Down to earth. Talk, and there's a few. There's quite a few. There's others that not, and
Yeah.
that's their business. No problem. So that's their business. I'm not
What,
gonna be
what
mad.
what I found out about the internet is, man, I'll answer questions. I'll ask questions, man. But when I look at other people, man, sometimes people can't handle that, you know. So they you never know how people are. They might be introverts themselves. You know what I'm
And
saying?
that's true, and that's true, and I understand that. It just the way, I mean, I don't know. It just my mind thinks a
And
lot of
look, and
times
look, and look, and look.
very
And
different.
I'm just giving people the benefit of the doubt. I know what you're saying, like, and because like people when I be seeing people like might ask somebody something on from a certain channels or whatnot, and then you just don't see no response ever, all the way down or
Yep,
anything. You know what I'm saying?
yep.
So, like, but at the same time, I can still see it on the other side. I've been dealing with that myself lately, man. Just thinking like, but I'm gonna continue to do me. I'm gonna still answer, but I used to answer everybody, and that's the one thing. I mean, like
I know, I know,
I
I
treat
know.
everybody the same. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know who the hell I'm talking to, but at the same time, man, they had a question to ask me. They took the time out. Shit, I can answer them back. I'm not that fucking busy. And there's a lot of big channels out there like you're really not that fucking busy.
Well,
You
yeah,
know what I'm
no,
saying? Like I don't give a fuck,
no,
motherfucker. You ain't got two secretaries.
and you're right. And at the same time, also the bigger the channel, come on. If somebody got, let's say, just put a number just for the heck of it, 6,000, 7,000, 15,000. You think you're gonna be able to answer everybody?
You can, hey, 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 look,
I
look, I don't,
understand
but
that
look,
too. I
you're
understand that
using the
too.
military. There's nothing unattainable. If
Yeah,
100 motherfuckers ask you a question, you can answer 100 people.
and it's true, and it's true. But at the same time, like again, they got lives too, and they got
Correct, correct,
jobs, and they got
correct.
things they have to be do. So I understand that part. But me, the way that I am, if somebody takes 1 second to send me a message, even like "get the hell out of here," I don't like your contact, screw you. It took 1 second to wrote that. I'm gonna return that second back to you. I'm gonna say, hey, just thank you for watching my video at least or something, because I don't know. For me, that's important. It's the same with live. When I do a live, something that for me is important is looking at the comments, and sometimes they're hard because the comments keep going, pam, 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 pam.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
But I think if you the same way, if you take 1 second to write something to me, I'm gonna take that second to return it back to you
But
at
but
least.
but but live is kind of different because you kind of talk and shit. Like, say if we were talking now and I'm trying to pay attention to you, like I can't do both. You know, what I'm saying? And if I pay attention mostly to the comments, then there would be no show. You know, so I can understand that part. And look, and be honest with you, even because like there's like sometimes like motherfuckers with 100, 200, comments in there. And I'm not saying answer everybody back, but for the most part, and even I don't know. I guess it all depends on the person because what I would do if I was that, like I would just maybe tell like whoever, you know what I'm saying? Like, hey, look, because especially if my shit was popping off every day, like, look, answer these fucking comments. I don't give a fuck if you just put a like and a heart. Just do it. You know what I'm saying? And look, I'm
Yeah,
gonna give
yeah,
you $20. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying?
So,
Or you want some weed, motherfucker? I give you some weed here. You know what I'm saying? Just do that for me, okay? Just make
a
sure you do
heart,
that.
a like, something, a
Yeah,
face, emoji, something, But I mean, again, I understand both sides. Yeah,
yeah. Me
I
and
just,
I do too on that.
it just the point I was trying to bring is that I remember you was there was a few people that answered back to me a question, not a comment. It could and it could be on Instagram or whatever, and you didn't have to, but you did, and I appreciated that. So I think that's when we start talking. I think that's when they actually start having conversation. We start talking, and and I have seen your growth, which I like that. I've seen you grow in a channel too. Again, just like Classify, I found it good, and it was keep getting better. You see what I'm saying?
Mhm. Hey
And
man, I
then you
appreciate
try,
that, man.
yeah, and then you're trying to do different things. I remember when you was hectic to make a live. Remember when I said, "Hey, I asked you when you gonna do a live," and you said, "No, I don't." And you said, you told me, hey, I got this stuff. I just haven't started yet. I got
Yeah,
StreamYard,
I
but
remember that.
I need
Yeah,
to use that. I just don't, don't know, don't have the time. I need, so, and then now you enjoy doing your life. You enjoy
yeah,
showing your stuff, and
yeah.
you find your MO, your what you like.
Yeah, and it's still there's still some more stuff I want to do. I just don't have the fucking time. And like, be honest with you, if my time was dedicated, um, just to doing YouTube, man, I probably would be sitting, man, at probably 100,000. Cause I just know me. I know how hard I would go, and that's all I got to do. Like, say if I was getting paid to do this shit, that's all I got to do. Oh shit, I'm about to get this shit jumping. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Like,
yeah,
but
because
uh,
that's gonna be your job at that point. So
correct, correct.
you have to make sure that you make it happen.
Correct, but
So
for the most part, man, I just do what time allows me, man, and that's the biggest thing. I say with anybody, man. It's not about you know, this, that, or the third, man. Just do what you like to do and just stay consistent. I ain't even saying every day. If this is what you do, like I collect toys. I'm so as far as I know, not unless something happens altering my life. You know what I'm saying? Where I can't do this, then I'm gonna be doing this. I don't give a shit if I drop one episode every 3 months. You know you won't see the end of me. You know
yeah,
what I'm
yeah,
saying? Like so, basically, on that sense, man. But even like how you said with the like the algorithms popping off. I don't know shit about that, man. And be honest with you, I still feel like I'm not in the general algorithm. Like say like little like niche groups or whatnot in the community, especially GI Joe community, have my probably have my video circulating, man. But I don't know how that shit works, man. My biggest thing is just you keep putting out content, shit. Eventually, it'll start swirling. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
And
yeah,
then that
yeah.
and basically that's what's happening with you, man. Because like I said, your voice, the way you sound. If I wish I could understand Spanish fully, and I know, and also we want to put out there that you can go and change that, right, and it'll caption it
Yes,
correct on
yes,
your channel.
yes.
Yeah.
You can do
Yeah.
that, and you know what? It's funny because there's have been a few people that have telling me why you don't do videos in English, and a lot of these people, one thing that they tell me is like, oh, if you start doing in English, you're gonna get a lot of subscribers because your content is good and this isn't that, and to me, it's like, well, I mean, this is not my job. I enjoy this. I want people to see me. Yeah, I want people to subscribe, but I already started Spanish. No, I'm already in that direction. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
change that. They're like,
And that's what you want to do,
yeah,
and
yeah.
that's the way you see your channel going. Like I said, I think it's dope. I think it's phenomenal. And like I said, everything you've been telling me right now is something for you to head in a direction where like in the Spanish speaking community, man, like you're gonna have it, man. You just keep putting out your videos because for one, you said people more into vintage, and I think classified is a line good enough to get anybody
Now,
who
now,
has a action figure, hobby, man. They get anybody on their hook.
now, but let me tell you the flip side of GI Joe. On the not let's not say that the speaking Spanish community or the Spanish speaking community, but let's say South America, let's say Europe, some places like Spain and places like that that speak Spanish. One of the problems that GI Joe has, and that was the reason back in the 80s that they decided to create Action Force and some other names. You remember GI Joe? They create by different
So
names,
it isn't so
Commando, like
Americanized.
Commandos Heroicos, yeah, different stuff like that. Is
Mhm.
when GI Joe was introduced in TV, was the real American heroes,
Yes. Yep. Yep.
right?
Yep.
That by itself is for Americans, the real
Yeah.
American heroes,
It,
and
it,
it's
it, it's
based
it- it's
and
excluding people.
well, and it's based of reality is based on a special force from the American military.
Hmm.
So because of that, these other countries that doesn't they're not part of the United States. They don't know the issues that the United States has to deal or face. They never received GI Joe on TV. Never.
And you know what? You are right about that. And
Yeah, yeah, no, it's true because
being an
I found it.
American,
Yeah, I
being
found it myself. I
yeah,
found it myself. So, but Hasbro at that point, when they decide to go international, that's when they create these other brands based on GI Joe. Which funny because the most of those GI Joes actually at first were created in Mexico, Argentina, and these places like that, right? In factories. But uh, so that's what happened. They never saw TV. They don't understand the military, how the
mhm,
army is, because it's not an American army. It's their
yeah,
country.
yeah.
So for them to see GI Joe the way we see it, remember Puerto Rico is part of the United States, and
Oh yeah,
and
oh
and
yeah.
and, and we are in the same army and everything. So I understood. I love that. I love the military. So, but these countries are they're not going to see it the same way, and for that part is hard. Now they know what GI Joe is, and what they did like was the vehicles,
Mm.
especially the vintage vehicles. They know about the vehicles. They like to collect their vehicles. You see how it's crazy. And the
Yeah.
funny thing is, a lot of them they like more Cobra than GI Joe.
Well, shit, they got it down. It
Well,
that's us too.
but I think it has to do because when you see a vehicle from GI Joe, mostly you're gonna see green colors
Hmm.
or desert color, right? When you look at Cobra colors like the black on the his tank, the red of the Mamba, and colors like that, the fancy, the alley vipers. You got orange and blue. You got
Mm.
Crimson Guard. That's something unique and different. So I think therefore they can identify with that, but they will not identify with soldiers.
Mm.
So now my job will be showing the videos, showing the figures, talk about a little bit of story, make that interesting,
Mhm.
using my pictures, using my posts, doing different things, and people start liking them. Be like, oh man, I like that. That's pretty cool. That look pretty, that will be my part. That will be my mission when I do my videos, right?
No doubt.
And there's a lot of people there, but it would never be the same as collecting Master of the Universe or Thundercats or Star Wars or Marvel. That's different. They show those TV shows. They were introduced to those comics and things of that nature, but not GI Joe, which is
That's what
crazy,
that's
right?
why that's why GI Joe is so cool though because it's this like little ball of energy. It's not
Yeah,
it's not so
yeah.
it's not as big as those other IPs like Star Wars, of course, Marvel, DC. You know all these like different groups, but then there's just still GI Joe, and you like walk up to him like, how are you still alive? And it's just a tough little son of a bitch.
See, but again, it's just they knew they found it cool the figures because back in the days the 3.75 GI Joe figures were really cool when they broke the old Star Wars arms like that and
Yeah,
legs.
yeah, with the
When
swivel.
the bending and stuff like that was unique then at that point when they did that. So they that's how they knew about the figures. That's how they knew about the line. And also there was a lot of factories in Mexico, Argentina, and some of these countries that they did GI Joe. And
Mm,
then after that they moved to China
yeah.
and the other places. So and another factor too is a lot of people that know about GI Joe is because of the characters there of internationality. You remember GI Joe has also a lot of people from all over the world. Think
Yeah.
about it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh,
So
yeah. Oh,
so
yeah.
Big Ben, just there's plenty. So they did a job and they brought to different countries all over the world. And slowly, if you look through the years, they tried to change that real American heroes. If you look at the two shows of GI Joe that came, the new ones I think were Renegades and the other one, they
Yeah.
never say they never say real American heroes. They changed the whole line completely because they were trying to attract people.
Yeah, they was trying to blow their trap up, and they was like, "Look, we can't leave outside United States with this flag on." You know what I'm saying? We
Yeah,
got we
and
have to make it available for everybody. So, which is understandable, understandable.
so
But I think there was so much money pumping in the '80s, and it was such hot, like they didn't care, like as far as on that end, that real American heroes title. You know what I'm saying? They just running like shit. We killing them. It don't even matter. But I do understand moving into the future.
yeah,
Greed,
yeah. And it also came at the perfect time with the incidents that they were happening in the world. If you think about each, the wars that they were fighting at that time, the conflicts, when GI
Yes.
Joe came, it fit. It fit. So nowadays, let's be honest. Nowadays, classifies are people from our age around. Let's say a range from 35 for the most to probably 60, 65. That range right there can cover GI Joe for the most. And I talk about GI Joe from the
Yes.
80s. We cannot
Yeah.
go back to the 60 something
Yeah. Yeah.
anniversary.
Yeah.
And we're the ones who are buying that. For us, it's not action, it's not toys. It's actually collectible action figures. And
Mm.
the nostalgic factor is there, but now we want it like high definition. We want it really nice, 6 inch with all the details and all the cool stuff. So I don't know. I think the problem is the vehicles. Making vehicles for 6 inches, that's the problem
Uh,
because of
uh,
the size. You know, you know.
yeah. I mean, and it's still really not true to size. Even the
No,
ones we got, it's still tapered down just a little bit, man. But it's good enough because at the end of the day, what we got to think, man, they're toys. I mean, if they were to get so precise with that, then it wouldn't be fun anymore. Like the his tank is a tank, but still that truck that's sitting over your head, like the Valiverse truck, is still about the same size of it. You know what I'm saying? Like, so sometimes you're scaling it is off, but it's been good enough.
well, but even the small his tank, it was not really that big. Like if you look at AEW Strike from 3.75 and his tank, they didn't make it really to scale.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah, yeah,
so
exactly. That's what
I,
that's
I
what I'm
think
saying.
I
We're
think they
all
did a
toys.
good job, and also the his tank is not really a tank. Like I mean, it's more like a name, and the wheels. Well, yeah, I don't know, whatever. You can say yes. It is. Back in the day,
Hey, look.
I mean, it's just a cool vehicle made because it's not a real vehicle. It's a cool vehicle made unique that nowadays 2025 from back in 19, I think it was 1983 or 82 when his time came at first.
It might have been
It's
it might have been 83.
it still look cool. It still look, and
Yeah.
it can pass that for for something brand new, like
Look,
oh,
the
new technology.
his tank, besides the Rattler, is my favorite GI Joe vehicles. Just period. You feel what I'm
It,
saying? Like
it,
like
it
I
is
like
good.
I like a lot of people were into the. I mean, they had a lot of cool vehicles, and then sometimes them shits got outrageous. But man, I'm a his tank Rattler guy. Um,
You know,
I don't care anything for the Sky Striker.
well,
But
the
I,
Sky
I do
Striker.
I do like it. I mean it's an iconic GI Joe jet. And but just say it's like far as my favorite, and I did buy the HasLab of it because I wanted it. I thought it's still just like I say, far as GI Joe wise. I mean, the Sky Striker is where it's at, but I actually like the other plane that had the wings that go in. What was that? The X-90?
Oh, you talk about they have the wings,
Yeah,
kind of
that kind of
like
that
forward
go. Yeah,
diagonal. Oh my god!
I I,
The
I
so
send the tip of my tongue.
the other day we did a not well, you can call it survey live. So what I did, I have a bunch of vehicles. Let's say wheel terrain vehicles, a list, mid range. And you in the chat, I show the vehicles and I give like 2 3 minutes, and people shows which one they like, and we do a vote on that.
Okay, okay,
And then
okay.
whoever name gets, we move it in a different list. And we did the same thing with the planes and with the helicopters. All Joes first. We're gonna do one for Cobras. So, and we engage like that in a life, and we were showing the pictures
Mm.
from the art on the back in the 80s, from the 3.75. And people have fun with it. It was we have all kinds of stuff. The Tomahawk was there. The
Mm.
that you mentioned, that plane that you mentioned was there. We It was fun. It was fun. So
Yeah, my man Chris, window clean. He mentioned the Tomahawk. That was another good vehicle too. And speaking of vehicles, because we probably gonna do maybe about 15 more minutes. I want to get your take on what you think the new HasLab is gonna
the
be,
new, the new
and
HasLab.
how do you feel about the Snowcat?
So this is my prediction. I keep saying that probably it's not going to happen, of course. But just to steer the pot, I said two things. One, what about if they give us a surprise and Snowcat is going to be one, but instead of the Snowcat, it's going to be the Snowcat and the Cobra Wolf.
Mm,
Two vehicles from the winter vehicles, one Cobra, one GI Joe, because this is as far as I can remember, this is the only HasLab that has not been towards any of the teams. First HasLab was Cobra, 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 transmission from Cobra Command and Destro. Second HasLab, we have to respond to the his tank. We have to go in a different way. So it was GI
mhm,
Joe, and that's when the Dragonfly came. Then, you have a vehicle on Earth. We're gonna have one, and there was the advertisement, the promotion. We understood it was something from the air too, and the Rattler was. This one has been the only one that has they haven't shown anything. They haven't said anything
mm.
until Emily mentioned winter, winter, winter on the last fan stream, and has everybody thinking that is the Snowcat. Now, a lot of people have been questioning the Snowcat. I saw your video, your podcast that you did yesterday. I think it was yesterday,
Yes, yeah.
and you one of those that you don't see the Snowcat to be so potentially be a HasLab. And I'm with you to a certain point. It's cool, but what can they do to make it so amazing? And they ain't trying to charge you $300, $350, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah. Nah, I did have that point.
my thing is, what about if they go surprise everybody and giving you two instead of one, just like they have done recently with some of Transformers HasLab?
Hmm.
They can do that,
Yeah,
and
I haven't
just
seen them do it though, so I don't know,
and
but I wish they would.
they can do that. The mold can be I don't know, they can be they can do alterations in one mold to do the other one, and then they can say, okay, now we charging you $400, and people are gonna be like, well, there's two vehicles, here you go, take my money, or 450 or something like that. So that can be one, but most likely it's gonna be the Snowcat. uh my second prediction is, since they're planning to do the Transformer and G.I. Joe crossover, what about they come with a Snowcat that can transform in a Transformer, Ironhide, or stuff like that? Nobody talks about that, but they're planning the still going with the movie. The movie's still going, and they try to promote that. And you have seen last year the
Mhm.
magazines, the comics with the Transformer and G.I. Joe crossover.
Yes, yeah,
How
yeah.
how about if they want to put that wow factor, and that's the wow factor, making a detailed vehicle 4 6 inches that can transform?
I could see them doing that, but that's just almost. I'm just thinking that's just maybe a little bit too much in the line, too early
Probably.
in the line. Maybe about 4 or 5 years down the road after they
Hey,
done beat every horse, but I could
that's
see
why I
them
say
maybe
they're
doing that.
predictions.
Yeah, hey,
That's why
look,
I say
hey,
they're my predictions.
yeah, or maybe wishful thinking. But
Yeah, no, I mean it's not gonna happen. I just
which
put
I'm
that in
fucking with you,
perspective.
man. But but be honest with you, I could see that happening, but just not so early. I think that's too much to put on people. And not saying it too much to put on people in a bad way, but just I think it would just be too much because you might have people that might not want that.
The
I would
recept,
I
yeah.
wouldn't want it to be
No,
quite
no,
honest with
I think you're right. I think the reception from people, especially the hardcore G.I. Joe fans that collects classified, would probably be heck, probably
you. Correct.
not gonna like that so much.
What
If they do a Transformers snowcat now, I still believe they can do 2 for 1, and because to me the snowcat, like I always told myself, I didn't see it as a HasLab. I saw it as something like a band or something like that they couldn't do in my mind. Like, I thought, like, what's the wow factor? It is. I used to love the snowcat. That was one of my favorite vehicles from the Joes back in the days. But to see that wow factor on a HasLab, I don't know. They have to amaze me with something.
they basically have to go in and almost, I wouldn't necessarily say retool it because there hasn't been a tool made for a 1/12 scale one, but kind of reimagine it to a certain degree. You know, like
Yeah.
because what's on the outside of it, I mean, the shell of it is nothing crazy or extraordinary, but with a big snow tank like that, taking it, to the max, and my biggest thing is the only way I can see them kind of wooing people in and wowing people is, of course, come with a great scope and mold for the vehicle, but also can it carry people? And
Well,
that's what
yeah,
I'm
yeah, yeah.
saying.
That's gonna be another factor too, because we want to have troops in the vehicle, not just only one person driving. That's it. And also, see, the problem with doing alterations in any of the vehicles from G.I. Joe and Cobra, to me, that's my opinion, is when we come to vehicles, people want that vehicle that looks pretty much the same as the one in the 80s or the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
When people bought the Rattler, it's because it looked just like the one from back in the 80s, of course, bigger size, more detail.
Yes.
When people bought the Dragonfly, because it looked just like the damn Dragonfly back in that time, it
Yes.
just the same thing with the his tank, and they could put some missiles on the side and it still have that essence that is a his tank that you can look from a mile and say, oh, that's a his tank right there. So, and the reason I'm saying that, the AW strike that they're showing right now, a lot of people are not happy with it for what it seems like. And I think it's because they tried to do a lot of some changes that it's not looking the same anymore.
Correct. Correct.
Because
So
if
they
like
they, they
if you
can't do too much with it,
yeah, yeah,
but
if you look at
go ahead.
that one, it looks pretty nice. You look at the one they're showing, the I think that small tires in the front, it's not helping. And
Correct.
that form that has like going up like that, it doesn't have that anymore. So people are not happy with it. So
I'm not impressed with it. I have to see it, in the physical form, man. But I still don't think I'll be impressed with it. But you know what I want to see? That
I
there
got,
we go.
I got impressed
Pull
with
that
that.
down. I was just about to ask you to
No,
to
no,
pull
it's
that
good.
down.
Hold on 1 second.
That's crazy that you
So
pointed to that.
this is fans hobby, right? This is how it's supposed to look, the Skyhawk.
Yeah, me and Chris was just talking about that. They got a Tiger Force one that's gonna be a Joe Fest
Yes, in
exclusive.
Joe Fest. It's gonna be in Joe Fest, and if when that's a if, because it's limit amounts. If there's left, I think they're gonna have a website they mentioned that's gonna have a very limited quantities. And
How
I
much
but
you end up paying for that one?
uh
Excuse me.
with taxes and everything, I want to say 110.
That's not bad. That's a pretty big one too.
But that's the second one. So hold on. This one was like 95. Now look at the difference. This is how it shows you. This is instruction. This is how. the company is supposed to sell the vehicle so they don't get no legal problems, right?
Uh-huh.
You see the difference?
Let me see the other one.
I'm about to show you how the Skyhawk is supposed to look. Let me see if you can see. Hold on. I don't know. If
Yeah,
you notice
I
the wings,
yeah, they're shorter.
yes. So basically, they even show you the instructions how to build this. Now, they don't show you, but you can take this portion right here. When you take that out, you unscrew that, and the inside actually you can attach with that and take those wings, and it's easy, very easy, and you can form the actual Skyhawk.
Oh wow.
And it has lights. Hold on.
Nice.
It has the panel. It turns the panel turns the light and everything. The back too. It has the movement, the missiles in the back. I mean, it's awesome. Like the
That looks
only
good.
thing is not a Skyhawk because they cannot call it Skyhawk, but the vehicle and the size too is pretty big size.
That's from that 3D printing company you was talking
That
about?
is this one is I think the name is Fans Hobby or Hobby's Fans.
Yeah, Fans Hobby. Okay. Oh,
Fans
so
Fans
both of
Hobby,
those
yeah.
are Fans Hobby?
Both. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So and then look, you have holes to put a figure here and another one in the back if you want to.
Yeah, I remember when it came out a
On the
couple
other
of
side.
months ago, everybody was kind of crazy. The Skyhawk is really not one of my favorite G.I. Joe vehicles, but I do like that Tiger Stripe one. That one looked good.
No, no, yeah, yeah, no, definitely. And if I see it, I'm gonna get, you know.
Yeah, I think I'm good for one myself.
Now another company that making good stuff is Gridiron. It just the
Yeah.
prices of Gridiron is, I don't know. I wish there were not so much, but like
And
this was one of the best thing they could do in the Trouble Bowl.
yeah, that mech suit like attachments. Yeah, that was
Yes.
pretty dope.
Now, have you seen the latest vehicle that they dropped?
Yeah, it's the they well, it's like an ACP, like it's like a troop carrier.
Yeah, the Phalanx, I think. Phalanx.
Phalanx, yeah.
Phalanx. I think that was the name.
I've
Yeah,
seen
yeah,
it.
yeah.
It's like $400 though, right?
Yes, yes, yes. It
Yeah.
is. Yes, it is.
You said that's very stern. Yes.
Yeah, 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 yes. Yeah. So now on that one, and I know. Was it a CG Ram 7 or Seagram 7? The
Oh,
guy that you was
yeah,
talking.
yeah, yeah. Seagram's 7. Seagram
Seagram.
7.
Okay,
Yeah.
Seagram 7. He shows you the winter vehicle that Iron Gridiron has, right?
Yes. Yeah.
I think it looked great, but for the price, I found it like a little bit small.
Yeah, it's expensive. It's like $200 for that thing,
It
and
is. It
it
is.
looks great. It looks awesome. All of them, all those little Doom buggies that it made are like $200. It looks awesome. I would be down to get one, but I tell you what, it's not on my top priority list.
Yes. Yes.
You know what I'm
Now,
saying? Because it's an awesome looking thing, but it's just not there. It's not on my top priority, and maybe something else could fill that hole. Uh, that.
but the reason I got this one because this is literally
That.
the Skyhawk, and I guarantee you Hasbro's not gonna make this because I mean, come on, it's right here. Oh, and they
I,
cannot
th- I
say to
think
the
I
they
think it's
cannot
still
say to the
good for one.
company, like they cannot say to the company, "Oh, you guys did our vehicle," because when you look at the instruction and everything, it's not to be like that. But those who got that mind and open that do the change, that you can do it. You know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
I think Hasbro still make one. I just don't think it's on their top priority list. I don't see why. I mean, it's a perfect smaller vehicle, but they got they. I guess right now they just occupied on that, but as far as that's a vehicle that's obtainable like a vamp, but Man, they have so many vehicles, but the Skyhawk is one you've seen a lot, you know, on
Yeah,
the Joe side,
that,
So
yeah, that's the
I don't know
yeah.
why they haven't jumped on that, man. But Harvey, yeah, we gonna time it, man. I'm gonna definitely bring you back. Is there anything you got to say maybe on your last go around? You wanna shout out some things that you got coming up on your channel? Anything you want to plug in?
Well, the one thing. Thank you for bringing me here. This is the first invitation in English that I have.
For real?
Yeah, 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 on the channel.
We gotta get you some
So,
more of them.
it's funny. I didn't ask for this, just in case people know. This is a long time ago. Savage Land, it told me, "Hey, I'm gonna bring you one day, you know, so we can talk, a few things, especially since you were in the military." Uh,
Yeah, yeah, it was like last summer. I think you seen
yes,
one of my videos, one of my soldier videos. Yep, yep.
yeah, but as far as on my channel, I mean, I invite people to go and see it. Use the captions. For 23 years, I was going to the movie theaters back home in Puerto Rico and watch the movie in English while the caption was in Spanish. And I was a master of that. That's why I can see the comments on my life real quick. So yeah, I mean, just see a different perspective. Maybe just find something that people might like. I don't know. People can write. I will answer, comments, questions, whatever. Everybody brings something different. I hope people like that. I not only collect Joes. That's another one too. My stuff went all the way to different directions. Marvel Legends, DC Multiverse, freaking Jada toy, uh, you name it. I have all kinds of stuff. So I talk about everything, and I change. I'm trying to do one video of a different brand. So that's my thing. I have the lives on Wednesdays. One Wednesday on my channel, the other one on my friend GI Abdiel. I invite to his channel too, GI Joe stuff, and he concentrates in 3.75 especially. But other than that, thank you for the invitation. Definitely, one day I would like to bring you to one of my live. I don't know
Hey,
how that's gonna be. I don't know, and I know it's gonna be in English,
yeah,
but yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
nah.
I think it's gonna be interesting.
Hey man, I'm always down to talk about toys, man. I like when I get invited on shows and I get to talk. People, of course, we'll set it up and get the time, man, and we'll make it happen, man. Like I said, life happens. Life is lifing, ain't that the phrase? So like even with Seagram 7, you seen him yesterday. Man, we've been talking about getting together for like 6 months, man. But shit, I ain't had no time to do nothing, but we know we'll get it there, man. Like I said, like shit, me and you talk on this fucking stream yard without being recorded. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
had conversations. So but man, like I said, I wanted to show you some love, man. I love your channel. I love the texture of your voice. I look, I need to put the fucking captions on. To be quite honest with you, because I still haven't done it when I do tune in to you, man. But I be honest with you, I sit up and like and listen to you in Spanish. To be quite honest with you, that's some crazy shit. Even though I can't even understand it, it's just the texture of your voice, man. But other than that, man, I know you true to GI Joe. You true
See,
to the clan, Wu Tang Clan. We didn't even get a chance to get in that.
oh, we didn't got to that, and they're doing the last tour. They're
Man, hey,
actually doing
look,
the last
look,
tour.
it was in Raleigh yesterday. I was supposed to go.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Trust me, I know.
Hey, life is life, and man. No, it was Saturday. Yeah, because yesterday was
That's
Sunday.
another subject that we need to touch because I'm a big one. I'm a big Wu-Tang fan, and yeah, definitely.
Man, look, I seen them when they came here. Shit, it's been about 2, 3 years now. But man, I seen the tickets for the show pop up like 4 months ago, man. But I just couldn't do it, man. I got too much shit going on, man. I really wanted to see my boys one last time, all members on stage, but hey, maybe you know what? But other than that, man, maybe one day I'll catch. I would like to see a Raekwon show, just strictly Raekwon. You know what
Red
I'm saying?
one.
Yeah.
Is that your favorite?
Yeah, him and Ghost. I love.
Ghost. Ghost.
I love RZA too. I like RZA. He's just very obscure, like RZA.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So I man, that's the beautiful thing about Wu Tang. You can start choosing which ones you like, almost like a fucking X
I like
Men and
all of
shit.
them. I like all of them. Everyone has a different flavor,
Yeah,
and I think that's what they make the group so unique. Which they changed the what is a group on hip hop, on rap, Wu Tang Clan. That name has to be number one. I don't care whoever else came. It has to be because they did change. They changed their style, how people were rapping back days, and the things they were saying. I mean,
they did. They did.
even the
They turned.
clothing,
They,
even the clothing, the clothes and stuff like that.
yeah, yeah,
It
like
was
there's few rappers that come along or groups or things in music come on that make shit just change.
yeah,
You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? Like, like they'll instantly like just make everything curve. Like DMX had did that. You know what I'm saying?
DMX did
He
the
made
stuff.
this game just like curve. So there's just certain scenes that does that, man. And Wu Tang is definitely one, man. But I hate I missed the show, man. But I actually did get to see them and Nas, so I
You
could
did?
and cross that
Oh,
off the list. Hey,
you know,
look, that show was fucking that show was sick. The only thing they were missing was Mob Deep, but just Wu Tang and Nas together, that was just awesome, man.
see, that's another group right there, Mob Deep. Also, it, it left a print on the music, on the hip hop too, with their unique way to rap. The only time that I was going to see Wu Tang was in 1997, back home in Puerto Rico. They had a concert,
Oh wow.
and I remember, I got a group. Like when I say I got a group, I form a group like Voltron. I talk about like I have like almost 40 people deep, all
Damn.
with me. We rent two bands and stuff like that, and we went and drove to the concert. And I think something happened in New York that there was first someone else, and there was a big snowstorm, and they couldn't depart New York.
Oh shit, damn.
And we were waiting and waiting and waiting, and a little bit past midnight, I remember one of the rappers from Puerto Rico. He says he came, grabbed the mic, and everybody was ready. Boo! Everybody was mad. He was like, "Hey, listen, I came here just like everybody else that is here. I came to see my favorite group, which is the Wu Tang Clan, and I just got told. That's why I came to tell you guys that they're not coming, but they didn't want to tell you guys." And he said,
Oh
and
man.
he said, if I was you, I would fight for my money. And he threw the mic. What?
Well, what happened after that?
Two guys jump in the stage, and I remember the stage was imagine like being like being the streets, and you got trash cans with on fire, stuff
Yeah.
like that, and they came one jump and kicked those things, and fire started cutting up, and people start getting crazy, and the whole thing turned upside down. I'm telling you. Uh, I remember when everything got really crazy. I told everybody we need to get the hell out of here before the police get here, because we're gonna get stuck. We start running. We got to the vehicles. We departure. Next thing, there was a few gunshots. Pop, pop. Remember, we are exiting the stadium completely in the vehicles, and the police was coming in, and they closed right there, and we were able to exit. And
Damn.
that came. I know it's hard now, but it came in the news all over. It came in the United States in the news and stuff like that. That there were damages of millions and millions that people caused over there because with the Glenn didn't show up. Yeah, yeah,
Damn, yeah, that's look
true
that's
story.
something that's something we definitely gonna have to get into, man, and then man, just in the future, man, maybe like I do different stuff like sometimes guests to come on, I might invite just to come on like to talk after a GI Joe live stream, but I know time is the essence with you, man. But we'll definitely get you back, bro. And like I said, I have no problem coming on over on your side, man. Just time is everything, man. We'll definitely make it happen. But if anybody want to check my man Javier out, I definitely had his information plugged up on the screen. Go check my boy out. He got a lot of good reviews, and check out the Savage Land too.
So
This
understand.
this
We do
month
it for
here,
the we do it for the collection.
I'm trying to do 30 videos this month alone, a video
How far
every
are you
day.
going with that?
Huh?
How far are you going with that? Have you been have you been able to do one every day?
Yeah. I
For
like
real?
shit. Hey, look, this is gonna be one of them. Whether just whether it's podcasting or making a I'm not gonna say a review. My action figure videos or going on toy hunts. I'm gonna make a video every day.
Oh no! See, my last video was the wave 5 of Action Force to include the Praetorian, the braid, the white one,
Mm-hmm.
right? And with exclusive from convention stuff like that. Just to make that video took me like 4 days to make the video complete. No. Actually, 3 to 4 days to edit and everything. That's another one. I'm never satisfied, and I think that's what takes me the most. Editing the video, and I when I drop the video, I'm not happy with it. But it takes me time. If that challenge, I will not be able to do it. I will fail people completely on the second day. On the second day, I'll be like, nah.
But Well, I kind of got a formula of what I got going. Some videos don't take as long as others. Some videos I might want to work on it for a couple of days. Some videos I can come in like I can bang that out and just give me a good hour, and I know I can at least get 5 minutes of 10 minutes of good footage. You know what I'm saying? So
That's I don't know. That's my like craziness in me that I told my wife I'm gonna make a video really quick, no editing, no special effects, no nothing. Bam. 4 days, 5 days later, you see, you see me doing editing
Hey,
and stuff like that.
but you gotta let that shit go, man. You gotta let that shit go, especially when you see other stuff out here on the internet, and it's like, damn, that motherfucker ain't put no effort into that. And look how many views that shit got. You know what I'm saying? So that's just one thing I had to get into, man. Just like, hey, and believe me, I mean, I want stuff right when it go out, but like some videos. I probably need to work on for a couple of days, and some of them, man, some of my biggest videos, man, I came down here and did that shit in like 15 minutes, and then fucking left, and then this
I
shit
wish.
got like, you know what I'm saying, like all types of crazy views, and then there's other videos where I worked on that shit for a week, and that shit got like a couple hundred, you know what I'm saying?
No,
I'm like, oh
and,
man.
and it's true. It happens to me. There have been videos that I put some time, and I don't think it goes more than 150 views. Then there's another one that they didn't dedicate too much, and there's like 2,000 views. I'm like, for real, like why? Like, but it is what
You
it
can
is.
never predict the shit, man. You like I say, you just gotta go with your ebb and flows, man. And that's just pretty much where I'm at. But people, thank you for checking out the Savage Land. I thank my man Javier. He'll definitely be back, and I'll be back on his side. This is the Savage Land, straight savage podcast. If you can, give me a like, comment, subscribe. And with that being said, everybody know what it says. God bless.
Bless.
Peace.
Go on, get out of here! Who needs ya?